Hello, this is Sarah Fox with Rocky Callan. We are Tea and Tequila, and we're excited today to talk to you all about what you need to do to rock Nano even more than what we've mentioned, the challenges. So we'll be covering things like accountability, commitment, your writing schedule, and your outline. So we've got it all together. We're both high-end writing coaches and editors. So this is a great opportunity to get advice from things that would normally be a lot more money. And we're just really excited to see you all. I primarily do editing. I also do some book coaching and consulting. And I love working with fiction authors, particularly YA. And now would you like to introduce yourself, Rocky?
Yes, absolutely. So yes, I'm Rocky Callan. And I am a book coach, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and a retreat leader. And most of my time is spent doing nonfiction coaching, but I love to write and coach on fiction. That is my guilty pleasure. So we constructed our challenge, this webinar, and the gorgeous creation that we're going to talk about a little bit later, all for fiction authors who want to really commit to their writing and get it out in the world. And for that to happen, you have to write the book.
Yes.
So many of us have this grand and glorious idea about becoming an author, but we have a series of unfinished manuscripts on our computer. And it's time to finish one. It's time to get hardcore about actually about actually getting this awesome shiznit done, because you are worthy of creating this book that's been in your heart forever, and we want to give you all of the tools and resources to make sure that happens. So I am super excited to begin. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about these different pieces of the puzzle. We're going to talk about the outline, because if you're going to want to write a book with velocity, and in this framework we're talking about in 30 days, in a month, then you want to make sure you have a good game plan to begin. Mm-hmm. Far too often we sort of charge into the fray with no idea what we're going to do, and then we get really frustrated or afraid of losing those writing days and missing out on a word count. So a good outline will move you forward. Then we need to talk about commitment, because if you were anything like me, you know that those unfinished manuscripts are something that are the product of lack of commitment. Mm-hmm. And so we need to get really clear on your mindset and the diligence and devotion behind this particular project. And then Sarah's going to dive into creating your writing schedule and then getting accountable so that way you can rock your writing month. So I'm super excited to begin. And for all of you, there will be a replay of this. So
knock on wood. No technological errors.
Right. As long as the techie gods agree with us, there will be a recording. So we'll be posting that in the Tea and Tequila group after.
And also an email within the next couple days to the mailing list.
Exactly. So get on the mailing list too.
If you're not on it.
Exactly. So first off, I'm going to talk a bit about outlining. Now, if you participated in the 5-day challenge, if you got those emails, you know we talked about things like character, setting, plot, and conflict. There were so many things that we talked about, and those were like bite-sized pieces about what you really need to make sure that you are really untangling all of the pieces that belong in a really good book. Now, when you're thinking about your outline as a fiction author, you need to be thinking about your characters, the story, and conflict and resolution. Now, of course, there's so many pieces of this, but I really want to drive home these pieces about your character and your plot. So character, the best books we read are books that have really developed, really layered characters. So your villain may not necessarily be entirely evil. Your protagonist may not necessarily be entirely good, because human behavior, human interaction, human emotion is very complicated and messy, and you want to capture that. So when you're looking at character, you want to think about who this person is, their backstory, what motivates them, what their fears are, what their strengths are, what really drives them. Because then when you're going throughout your story and they're presented an obstacle, you will have, as the voice of this character, the opportunity to react the way the character would react. A lot of times we see flat characters that emerge onto the page because we haven't done the deep work of figuring out the nuances of that character. So what I would love for you to do is take your protagonist, or take your cast of characters, those central cast of characters, whether it's the bad guy, the good guy, the damsel, the warrior, whoever it is in your book, and really create a character sketch around them, around who they are, what their backstory is. So, how did they come to whatever situation you're thrusting them into? How did they get there? What is their family dynamics? What is their cultural upbringing? What are the things that they're really afraid of, and why? And those things are going to start to create really a layered experience for your reader, because they're always going to feel surprised, but then also they're going to get into this groove of understanding the character. So when certain things come up, you can give them surprises about backstory that a lot of times will lead us into this revelation around the story itself, but also this character. Those breakthroughs as a reader are just so delicious. So when you have a really developed backstory, even if it all doesn't go into your book, you can use it as teasers throughout, as something to thread along the way. So that's one with your characters. Now with your plot. One thing that we see very often is that people forget that plots need to move forward. When you begin a book, they are beginning from a very specific situation, from a set of circumstances. And you want to know where they're going. What's that end point? So if you're doing a high fantasy, is it this oblivious supernatural person that gets thrust into war and there's resolution to the war? Or that's like the catapult into a next book? Or what does that look like? Because in order to map out all of the milestones along the way, you need to really develop that beginning point, and you need to see what the hero's journey looks like. Maybe your hero doesn't look like a hero, but that's okay too. But you want to make sure that you are really honoring your story by, one, developing your characters and then giving them conflict to overcome so that they become the character, that they become the hero that's required to get to whatever the resolution is in the end. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at your book, you have to look at conflict. Conflict is something where you need to look at conflict with self, conflict with others, conflict with the whole world in terms of how you're developing the plot moving forward. So if you look at really well done books, you'll find that every chapter, they're either thrust into some sort of conflict. They're robbed, or they get into a fight, or they have a run-in with a parent, or they have a run-in with a romantic interest or something like that. Or it's something that's more internal, like they're experiencing self-doubt, or they're experiencing inner turmoil, or they're experiencing insecurity, or they're experiencing self-loathing, whatever it could, whatever it is, and this is just like human behavior, and this is just life, but we want it to be presented in a way that's accurate and it feels right for your reader, for the plot, for the story, for the characters that are driving the story forward. So one thing is to recognize every chapter needs conflict that escalates. You want to make sure that as you're writing, the conflict grows, builds. So when you get to that climax, when you get to that moment where all is revealed or the resolution is inevitable, that the main character has gone through such a serious journey of growth that resolution is inevitable, is possible. Far too often, what we've read are books where the character is not challenged enough. And it almost feels like they're half-assing because they needed to finish the book. Where no, as an author, you need to fully commit to your characters in your story, so that way there's the surprises, there's the backstory, there's the teasers, there's the escalating conflict between self and others in the world, and that all comes together in the end into a resolution that feels really good for you as the author, the story, and for your reader. So those are just some things to begin. So what I would encourage you to do is, like we've done in the challenge, I want you to look at creating the vision for your book. You want to think about the words that would describe your book. You want to think about, is your book haunting and poetic, or is it thrilling and suspenseful, or is it comforting and lighthearted? Think of those words. Then think of other authors that you've read that you really love, and create sort of like a vision board for your book. Think of your characters. You can Pinterest what they look like. You can grab characteristics. You can write out their character sketches. And then with your outline, you want to create milestones. For some people, they get really into the nitty-gritty of an outline, and some people have a very loose one. That all depends on you as an author. But what you do want is, you want to make sure that your character is developing, that the conflict is escalating, and that you have a clear beginning and a clear resolution. And then as you go in to the actual writing, you have a game plan, you have a roadmap, and yes, you can deviate, but at least you'll always have that momentum, that structure that you can follow. Now, once you've have this glorious outline, it's really easy to take your outline and then put it in a folder and never look at it again. I have lots of those. And we all do, because as creatives, as writers, we have so many ideas, right? But it's important to commit to one so that you can see it through to the end. And in order to see it through to the end, you must commit. You have to shift into the mindset that you won't do this someday, or maybe, or you'll try it out. You're going to say, I want to do this, and I'm going to show up for this, and I'm going to create space for this, and I'm going to make sure that this is a non-negotiable in my life. And that's what writing a book in a month is all about. It's about saying that you are going to be ferocious in your attainment in this desire, and you won't let anything or anyone stand in your way. So right now, what I would like you to do before Sarah takes it away and starts talking about the nitty-gritty of the writing schedule and getting accountable, is to get very honest with yourself. Have you committed, or have you not? And if you haven't, then now is the time to do so. I want you to look at your calendar for November and say, did I put appointments on my calendar for my writing? Did I map out space? And then if you haven't, if you're looking at your calendar and you're like, oh man, there's no possible way, I'm going to call bullshit on that right now. You can write a book in 5-minute increments, in full, like 10-hour blocks, whatever it is that would work for you. But you can find a way. If you're committed, if you're devoted, if you're ready, if you're full on ready to do this, you'll find a way. And we're going to discuss ways to find a way later. But I just want you to go into this already confident, already on fire, already rearing to go. I want your pen, paper, book outline to be ready, and I want to see words getting written because we're all tired of blank pages. Okay? So commit right now. Shout it, yell it, write it, whatever. Say, I am committed to this journey. I am committed to writing this book, and I will not undermine how powerful I am. Okay? All right.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do is I'm going to hand it off to Sarah because she has the delicious responsibility of talking about making and finding those ways to make the writing possible and about getting accountability to make it inevitable.
Okay, I'm going to rock this little old school, like circa 2000, because everything I learned in middle school with my Lisa Frank notebook. So when I was younger, when I did NaNoWriMo, I briefly mentioned this in blog posts, is I set up a calendar, and I was hardcore about this as a young self. And I wrote down 1,667 words every day, and I made sure if I didn't make that day, I'd add it up to the next part of my calendar. So I got a huge calendar, like with My Little Pony search, something ridiculous that was very middle school, probably Backstreet Boys, let's be honest, and would go and wrote out every single word count goal. And then after like 20,000 words, I would reward myself. So it's something like a young adult book, even though that wasn't a category at the time, it was something in that vein. It was the latest Backstreet Boys CD. I just got it down, made my reward list, and then checked it off when I got it. And I put stickers every single day I did it. So I'm not kidding. Get yourself stickers. It can be ridiculous. They can be fun. There's something very soothing and cathartic about putting down the stickers in a sense of accomplishment. And you won't want a day without one of those stickers. So that's a great way to get the habit going. And also another idea is also monitor your energy levels and your time right now. So get a planner and even write down every hour of the day or whatever chunks of hours and note, what are you doing with your time right now and when are you the most energetic? Is it the morning? Is it the evening? I realize there's constraints with work, but which part of the day are you, a night owl, an early bird? Use that time to write then. So get up an hour early if you're an early bird or stay up an hour later. Whatever it is, get that time scheduled in your calendar to write. And if you find out you're watching TV for 2 hours in the evening, take that time, as much as it pains me, from The Good Place or The Voice. I love those shows, but use it to write because it is hardcore, but you'll have to make sacrifices. It's like Rocky mentioned before with commitment. You can't just say, oh, it will happen magically. No, you need to actually be committed, and part of that commitment is actually putting it on paper, getting the stickers out, getting the rewards. Like, seriously, make a list with the milestones because I can't wait 50,000 words to get what I want. It helped to have like 10,000 words, and make up the days where you don't write. Like, don't make an excuse either. Like, I'll get it tomorrow. No, you lost that sticker that day you didn't do it, but you can still have hope and make up maybe your rewards on schedule if you make up with other time. Because NaNoWriMo, it's so crucial to keep your schedule, because if you get 1 or 2 days off, it can like ruin, not completely destroy your chances, but will make it a lot harder to reach the goal at the end. So again, it's 1,667 words for those playing at home. So write that down on your calendar. It's pretty easy, one for each day, or if you don't want to work weekends, you do your own math because I'm bad at it. But you have the idea of what you want to do with your schedule. Thanksgiving is always trauma for me. So in a good way, I love my family. But you have to, like, there won't be time to write. So take holidays into account, weddings, birthdays. Be realistic with your schedule and just find time where you might want to cancel like certain events with friends. You might not do your regular happy hour with your writing schedule, just so you know it's done. And I don't care if you're inspired or not, you're going to sit down and write. It helps to have like a routine, like it's lighting candles, a soundtrack, a certain beverage, alcohol. Hemingway says helps the process, but actually getting the ritual down like helps the creativity kick in. And also, if you're not inspired, no one would write anything if we waited till we're inspired. So the point of the schedule is inspiration will come, as Stephen King loves to say. If you actually are at your desk writing, then you'll actually complete the thing. So don't think, oh, my writing schedule will be when I'm inspired. You can't work like that. Even if you're writing what you think is absolute garbage, just keep going. That's what revisions and editors are for. Keep pushing on. Which now you might be like, how do I know I'll be accountable to this schedule? Accountability comes in. So it's helpful to have groups like the one that we've created with Tea and Tequila, Facebook groups, Getting Writing Buddy, which you can find. Even put a note in our group saying, hey, will someone hold me accountable? That's a good resource for you. I had a friend in high school who I'd send a chapter to. I had a schedule with her. I'd said, on Fridays, every other week, I will be sending you a chapter of my book. And she'd comment on it, and she'd be like, what happens next? That's so encouraging to have someone in your corner being like, what happens next? And you're like, no, I can't drop off because my friend Marina will be angry at me that she never finds out what happens next. And I had an unfortunate experience in middle school. I was writing this ridiculous sci-fi novel, and I dropped it. My friends would not let me live back down for like 5 years. Unless you want shame for 5 years, which is a little ridiculous. But like, have accountability. It'll make you get it done because you don't want to live with people being like, when's your book done? When's your book done? When's your book done? So even exchanging chapters at certain points, or just having, like Rocky and I have an absolute deadline, October 30th, of when you want your book done. Whatever works for you, but having the accountability, having someone also to bounce ideas off of, like, I'm stuck in this point. What do you recommend? Or I'm just having a bad day, and someone can commiserate with you, or yes, I got 10,000 words magically done in one day, and someone who can celebrate with you. Accountability is super, super crucial.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one thing, like Sarah was saying, and I really want to underscore this because we're book coaches. We are high-end book coaches. We know our shit. We get things done. We serve our clients powerfully. And yet, as authors, we need support. We need that accountability too. And so that's why she and I have created that hardcore deadline for our exchange of manuscripts, because we know that it would not get done otherwise. So that's why we created the November Writing Blast, that group, because we know just how much it sucks to decide you want to do something and then feel like you're unsupported, or feel confused, or lacking the resources to get it done. And so we wanted to create something that was affordable, that was manageable, that was accessible for fiction authors to come into a space, to find community, and to be able to ask questions and get feedback and get support and get pep talks and have live Q&A, because we know that as authors, we require those same things. So I've published books, and Sarah has edited and written multiple manuscripts, completed multiple manuscripts. And so we know how this shindig goes. We know that the support is absolutely essential. So we created this program. It is a 1 month full throttle blast for authors who want to get shit done and write the books that have been in their heart for freaking ages. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing up in that group all of the time to give you pep talks and love and inspiration, feedback, but also we're going to do live Q&A, live streams, so that way you can get immediate feedbacks for some of your questions. You're going to get us our lovely faces.
That might not be a selling point for me, Rocky.
What you talking about, hot blonde woman? We're going to be showing up in your inbox, the Tea and Tequila Book Babes, and we're going to be giving you daily inspiration, daily pep talks, and ways to overcome writer's block every single day, and a writing prompt if you're struggling. If you're looking at a blank page and you're like, I have no freaking clue what to write about, we're going to give you something to leap from. So that's the structure of that program. If you want to check it out, is at thebookishfox/November-writing-group. Going
the link in the chat.
She'll put the link in the chat, and we're going to post it in the Tea and Tequila tribe. But here's the other piece. Perfect. It's up in there. I really want to underscore the fact that you as a writer do not have to move forward in isolation. You as an author do not have to do this on your own. That all of these steps, the outlining piece, the getting like the cheer squad in your corner to get that commitment, all the way through to the writing schedule. Like, both of us have gone through a lot in terms of writing our manuscripts. I've written a book that took me 15 years, right? I've written a book in 8 days. And I've written books when I had full-time jobs, 3-hour commutes, and toddlers, and writing in 3 to 10-minute writing sprints.
Respect, Rocky. Respect.
But we want you to know that this is possible for you, that we can look at any schedule and we can help you map out what will be required of you to make this happen. And Sarah's already given some great examples about what that looks like when you're mapping out your writing schedule. But when you're in the group, we'll be able to look at your schedule and say, hey, love, yeah, that little bucket of time, you should be writing.
Also, I can give you links to awesome stickers for your calendar.
Mama got to work with the stickers. And, I will be showing up with my margarita to celebrate on a regular basis, all of the word count goals, all of the, milestones you reach, all of those. Another piece I want to bring up is that we're going to be doing a workshop on October 25th, where you can take your book outline and your character sketches and bring it to that workshop. This is for the badass author people that are going to be joining us in the writing blast, and we will workshop them for you. You can ask questions, you can get feedback, and we'll be really interactive during those couple of hours. So that way, when you're about to jump into the actual writing that in November, you feel clear, confident, and ready. And so I'm just so excited. I'm so excited because Sarah and I really wanted to create something that was comprehensive, that was really a great, sacred, delicious, awesome container for authors to really step up their game and make things happen. So I know there's some people on the line. You can absolutely ask questions.
Feel free to ask questions, comments, as long as they're friendly.
Nice. So we came up with this. And another thing is that we'll be also, if you haven't joined our mailing list, we're going to be reworking it so that it's automated. So even if you missed the challenge, when you come into the mailing list, we'll be setting it up so you can get those prompts. If you did join the mailing list and you didn't look at those prompts, this is me staring at you and telling you to go look at the prompts.
We're watching. We have our eyes on you.
We're watching you, love. So it's all about, it will take you literally 5 to 10 minutes to do these prompts. We kept them super short and super simple because we did not want you to get overwhelmed. We wanted you to be able to just like open it up, crank it out, because we just want you to get in touch with that part of yourself, that you're creative, that you're an author, that you can be this master, this puppeteer of worlds. And so it's just a matter of owning it. And once you've owned it, you're going to be unstoppable.
It's true. And the challenges are really good if you sign up before October 25th. You get the workshop, which is amazing, and it will be motivation for you to get the challenges done. So we can workshop something. And also you can take the advice from here. If you want to do a writing schedule or you want to tell us about your commitment, we can discuss it in the workshop. It's very hands-on. Like, we'll actually give you feedback. And I've learned as a writer with like working with editors or just with friends, it's so crucial to get feedback because you can't see things clearly, and people can give you really good insights that help you realize, oh, maybe I should give up this block of television, or maybe this one scene, this part of my outline is not compelling enough, or this character is not well developed enough. It's just really crucial to get outside eyes because no book is published without at least a couple different sets of eyes on them, if not tons.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So before we finish up, I want you to know that we're going to be posting this to our group and sending out to a list. If you have questions, if you go through and you watch the content and you have questions, we are going to be showing up for a Q&A live stream in the Tea and Tequila group so that you can ask questions. And I want to just run through a quick summary of what we've covered today. We talked about the importance of your outline, to really, really, really look at your characters, to dig deep into their backstory, into their motivations, into who they are, so that way they can grow and develop as your plot that is riddled with escalating conflict approaches them, as they collide with those things, as they overcome those things. So you want to make sure you have a very clear outline. And we both, Sarah and I, would love to check out these outlines. We'd love to check out the stories you guys are mapping out. The other piece is that you need to be rock solid with your commitment. We don't want you half-assing this. We want you to be totally turned on and tuned in and ready to go. And if you need a pep talk, then we will show up in the Tea and Tequila group, shout us out and say, hey, I need a pep talk. I'm like floundering. Then we will give you a pep talk. We give pep talks like no other, people.
Better than the kid president.
That's, oh my God, yeah. I don't know. We'll try.
I could do that dance he does. It's pretty solid.
Oh my gosh, man. We'll have to do a dance for the end.
Celebration dance. Also, signing up for this group will be a signifier for your commitment. Like, when you actually invest in yourself and you actually join a group like this, you're saying, I'm in. It's a way of making yourself actually commit.
Exactly. So the last two pieces, which are super important and that you're going to be getting so much support in creating in the program, but for you just to run with this too, is that you need to map out your writing schedule, make it a commitment on your calendar, focus on your daily word count, and hitting that daily word count. And then getting the accountability and support to make sure that by week 2, you haven't given up and started binging on Netflix. So get accountability that is honoring you in this journey and this desire, and get support that you can lean on as you move forward. All right, my loves. I think we're going to close up for this time together. It was lovely, fabulous, wonderful being with each of you.
Thank you for coming out. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for showing up and being present for this desire. We're going to be sharing this with our list, sharing this in the group. We really encourage questions, and we'd love for you to get really vocal and engaged. Even no matter what, we want you vocal and engaged in the Tea and Tequila group. We'd love you to be in the November blast. But our number one goal is to liberate your stories. So show up and we will be there.
Definitely.
All right, everybody, take care and happy writing.